This video is for 4.2, solving systems by substitution. There are 10 questions. The first several questions, what it wants you to work on is to plug in a simple number. Okay, there's nothing fancy about it. You don't have to solve for any letters. You just plug in one number. And in this case, we have x equals 12. That means anywhere I see x, I can replace it with the number 12. They're the same thing. So what I do is I put parentheses right here around the 12 and then around the x to remind myself that's where it goes. So I do y minus, and x is 12, so 12 equals 15. So all I did is take that x and replace it with a 12 because I'm told they're the same thing. Now all I have to do is solve it. Y minus 12 equals 15. There's nothing to distribute other than that negative. And then I'm going to add 12 to both sides. And I have y equals 27. So I'll put 27 right here. And that's how you do these first few. Let me go to the next one. Right here, instead of x, we're told that y is 20. So I'm going to replace y with 20. Whatever it says y is, this whole piece here, you just replace it. So I have 20 equals 4x. Always put it in parentheses, even if you don't think you need them, just in case. And here I don't need them. There's nothing to distribute, so I'll have 20 equals 4x. Now I just need to solve for x. I'll divide by 4, and I have 5 equals x. And so that tells me the answer is 5. All right, number 3. Here, again, we're solving for x. We have y right here, so we're going to replace y with that number. So I have 13 equals x minus 12. All I did was replace the y with the 13, which is what I'm told right here. The parentheses can go away, and I have 13 equals x minus 12. I'm going to add 12 to both sides, and I have x equals 12 plus 13 is 25. So that's what goes right here. Okay, that's how you handle the first 3. Now this one is slightly different. Instead of just a number, we're getting a whole equation, or math, with addition and another letter. So I still put the parentheses around the whole thing. Okay, I want that whole thing. And this is a y, so I look at the y and I put the parentheses around the y. So now I have y equals 9x minus 17. What does y equal? What can I put in for y? These are completely interchangeable, which means I can put one on or the other, it doesn't matter. I'm going to put x plus 23 right there for y. All I did was take this and plug it in for y. So now I distribute. There's nothing to distribute, just the 1 right there. So I have x plus 23 equals 9x minus 17. And from here I just solve for x. I've got an x on both sides. I need to change that, so I'm going to minus 9x minus 9x, giving me negative 8x plus 23 equals negative 17. Going to minus 23. That gives me negative 8. X equals negative 40. Divide by negative 8. Divide by negative 8. X equals 5. So that goes right there. But we notice it wants another answer. It wants y. So what we do is we take this number right here, what we know x equals, and we plug it in right here for x, giving us 5 plus 23. We just replaced the x right there. What's 5 plus 23? Well, that's 28. So that gives me my y. Okay, once again here, we find that both of them, in this case, are solved for y. So we just need to choose one of them. I'm going to choose this one and plug it in right here. Now I could choose this one to plug in down there. It doesn't matter. They're both the same. And when they're both the same, you're basically just writing them equal to each other, giving us 9x plus 14 inside the parentheses equals, so that's where my y was, and what does that equal? 6x plus 35. So all I did was take this, plug it in for y, and then I took the rest of it and plugged it in, or just wrote it right after. So I just replaced y. I don't need to distribute anything, so I can drop the parentheses. I have 9x plus 14 equals 6x plus 35. I've got x's on both sides, so I'm going to subtract this 6x, giving me 3x plus 14 equals, this goes away, and I'm left with 35 minus 14, and I'm left with 3x equals, and 35 minus 14, that's a 1, 21, divided by 3, and I have x equals 7. So right here I'll put my 7, and I'm not done yet. I've got to take this 7 and plug it in wherever I see x. And I'm just going to choose that one because it's easiest to draw the arrow to. It can be either one, it doesn't matter. So I have 9 parentheses x. What's x? Is 7 plus 14. Remember, when you plug in, you always use parentheses. Well, 9 times 7 is 63. So I have 63 plus 14. And 63 plus 14 is 77. Number 6. Same thing. Now only one of them is solved for y, and that's okay. Now that's all we need is just one. So we have here 3x plus 10. That's what y is. So that means I am going to replace that right here where I see my y, giving me 4x plus 3y equals negative 9. So 4x plus 3y. What is y? Y is 3x plus 10. Now I'm going to distribute, and that gives me 4x plus 9y, or 9x, excuse me, plus 30. So all I've done so far is I've taken the y and plugged it in for y, wherever I saw the y. And then I just distributed the 3. Now the x's are on the same side, so I can combine them, giving me 13x plus 30 equals negative 9. So let's solve for x. Minus 30 minus 30. 13x equals negative 39 divided by 13. X equals 3, negative 3. Don't forget we have a negative there. So now I know my x is negative 3. And from here, I take that number, that negative 3, and I plug it in for x. Again, you can use either one. This one's easiest because it's already solved for y. So I have y equals 3 times x plus 10. What is x? X is negative 3. So now let's solve. Y equals 3 times negative 3 is negative 9 plus 10. Y equals 1. So there's our two answers. And this is how you do this entire thing. You just go through piece by piece and add little, or just substitute what we're told. In this case, we're told that y is this. So that means I'm going to replace y with that, giving me negative 2x plus 3y equals 13. What is y? Y is 3x plus 9. Just like that. Now I'm going to distribute negative 2x plus 9x plus 27 equals 13. I can combine my x's. Negative 2x and 9x is 7x plus 27 equals 13. So now I just solve for x. Minus 27 minus 27, giving me 7x equals, and this one I'm just going to do quickly on a calculator to make sure I get it right. 13 minus 27 is negative 14. Divide by 7, x equals negative 2. So negative 2 goes right there, but I need y as well. So again, I take that number and plug it in wherever I see x, and I'm going to plug it in right there. So I have 3 times negative 2 plus 9. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6 plus 9, which is 3. So that's my y, 3. Here I've got my x, which I'm going to take and replace my x. So I have negative 5 times x plus 2y equals negative 13. My x is 3y plus 13. Now I go ahead and solve. I'll distribute negative 15y, and 5 times 13, I'll do that on the calculator, negative 5 times 13 is negative 65. So minus 65 plus 2y equals negative 13. And I see here I've got a positive 2y and a negative 15y. I can now combine those, and I have negative 13y minus 65 equals negative 13. And from here I'm just solving for y. So I'm going to get everything away from it. Plus 65 and negative 13y equals, and negative 13 plus 65 is 52. Divided by negative 13, divided by negative 13, y equals 4. So we find y, make sure you're finding the right number, is negative 4, excuse me. We've got a negative right there. So negative 4. Okay. Now from there, we take that 4, plug it in right there for y, giving me 3 times y plus 13. What is y? Y is negative 4. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12 plus 13, and that's 1. So x is 1. Negative 4 and 1. Here's my y. So that's what I'm going to plug in right there for y. I have negative 5x plus 2 times y, always in parentheses, equals negative 11. What is y? Y is 2x minus 5, excuse me. Next step is always distribute if you need to. So I have negative 5x. 2 times 2x is 4x, positive 4x. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10, equals negative 11. I can combine these x's. It gives me negative 1x minus 10 equals negative 11. So now solve for x. Plus 10, negative 1x equals negative 1. Divide by negative 1. X equals 1. So I'll put that 1 right here. Now I take this 1, plug it right back in to that x right there, because I see that that's what x equals. So I have 2 times x minus 5. What is x? X is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. And the last one should be exactly the same. We take 1 here. This is our y, so we take that and replace y with it, giving us 3x minus 2 times y equals negative 19. What is y? Y is 2x plus 11. So all I'm doing is plugging that in just right there. Now we distribute. 3x minus 4x, and negative 2 times 11 is negative 22, equals negative 19. We can combine those and get negative 1x minus 22 equals negative 19. Now we're going to get the x by itself. We're going to add 22 to both sides. We have negative 1x equals, and that turns out to be 3, positive 3. Divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, x equals negative 3. So in my x, I'll put negative 3. Then I take that negative 3 and plug it in right there for x, giving me 2 times x plus 11. What is x? X is negative 3. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6 plus 11, and that's 5. So y is 5. So that's how you do the homework for in solving systems by substitution. Hopefully it helps a little. Let me know if you have any questions.